Welcome to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. Growing up, the only sports that young women had to compete in were solo sports such as swimming, tennis, or figure skating. And they were actually competing against each other while men were bonding in the change room. Now we've come a long way, as now we have a new women's hockey, basketball, and soccer franchise. So, how can sports help women build confidence and resilience in all aspects of life? Today, I have two exceptional athletes on the show. One is a softball Hall of Famer, and the other is a skeleton athlete and physical educator. So, to discuss building confidence and resilience through sport and fitness, for the first two segments, I'm joined by Tessa Thomas, co-founder of Pipeline Solutions and Softball Hall of Fame inductee, class of 2020 at Winthrop University in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Tessa, welcome to Empowered.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So let's begin. What inspired you to pursue a career in sports, and how has it empowered you personally?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think sports always been just a big part of my life, even as a kid. I think the earliest memory I have is of getting into organized sports was probably about grade 2, so maybe about 7 or 8 years old. So it's always been kind of a special place to really just be yourself, kind of be the athlete that you've been training to be, and kind of really pour into a skill and a craft, and have that come out and be part of a team. So for me, it's always been the idea of being part of that team, and contributing, and kind of working together towards a championship or a common goal. And that type of experience is really, really special. So that's really what drew me in, and kind of kept me there for so long.
So you and I have known each other for a few years now, and we've worked out together. But I want to ask you, how do you believe sports can help women build confidence and resilience in all aspects of life?
Yeah, 100%. It's really about all of those small victories that we see when working out together and alongside people. And for me, being able to see women, especially, but men and women, achieve things that they didn't think was possible even a month ago or a week ago or yesterday, it's really incredible. So I think, confidence actually comes from action, and being able to see people take action and do something that they may not have thought they could do previously in the gym, or on the field, is something that's really special. And I think that's really what drives the confidence, is just being able to achieve even the smallest thing, the smallest action, the smallest individual victory.
So, speaking of action, how can we encourage young girls, even young boys, to get involved in sports from an early age? Because there are a lot of individuals out there that don't work out, don't care about it, and don't think that it's important to them.
Yeah, it's great. I think the real thing there is that physical fitness is it's not just lifespan, it's health span, it's mental health span. It impacts so many aspects of our lives, and that includes with kids and adults alike. So I would just encourage people to embrace that physical activity, because you actually don't know what it can unlock for you in all areas of your life, whether that's mentally, emotionally. Again, talking about kind of those small victories and building confidence, and especially with young kids, right? It can be really easy to get down, and maybe not be able to feel like you're fitting in, or understand your place in the world. And sport and fitness can really help unlock a lot of that for our youth. And there's nothing like being part of a team, right? All of a sudden you've got a dozen new friends, and you're all working together at something. So definitely encourage youth sports at every level.
I love the fact that you just said we're all working together, because a lot of kids think that they have to do everything on their own. And as I'd mentioned in the opening, when I was growing up, there were really single sports for women. They were solo and they were competing with each other. But when we come back, I want to talk about the importance of women in sports, media, and leadership roles, and how important the representation of women is. So please don't go away. When we come back, we're going to talk more about sports and the importance of it is for your mental health. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. Today's episode, we're discussing building confidence and resilience through sport and fitness. And I'm joined by Tessa Thomas, co-founder of Pipeline Solutions and the Softball Hall of Fame inductee, class of 2020 at Winthrop University in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So, Tessa, let's begin. How important is representation of women in sports, media, and leadership roles?
It's really everything. It's really it can be difficult as an athlete or young athlete, engaging in any sport to not see yourself progressing through that sport and then into whatever profession might be after that. And so the representation really, really, really matters. I can remember seeing athletes myself when I was a kid, and looking up to them and just seeing them just winning on the global stage. The Williams sisters in tennis, my own mom, who was a national, it's two-sport national athlete for Guyana. It's really everything to be able to see where your future could be, and representation really matters.
So I know you just talked about the Williams sisters. Can you share some examples of female athletes who have become powerful advocates for gender equality?
For sure. One that comes to mind actually would be Allison Felix, track and field, and kind of her more public battles in the last few years, with Nike, and just her voicing what had happened there, with her having a baby, and the sponsorships, and anyone could read more about the details there, but taking a stand, right, and really expressing that if something is not fair, we really need to start talking about it because things have been, maybe passed over or swept under the rug for a really long time. And so her voicing, those challenges and what happened there really stand out as a great example to me.
So, what are the physical and mental health benefits of participating in sports for women?
I mean, it's everything. I am quite active. I'm in the studio working out 5 days a week. I have been doing that for the last almost 8 years, just because it's the ability to feel strong at any given moment is something that I don't take for granted, especially, anyone that's had any injuries or any kind of setbacks. As soon as that happens, you really realize, how important your physical health is, and that physicality. So continue to build strength and endurance through cardio and strength training is really important just for longevity and also, quality of life, being able to do the things that you want to do. And all of that really contributes to your mental health, right? It's a space
Yep.
where if you feel like you can't do things physically, it can really weigh on you emotionally and mentally day to day. So I think the two really go hand in hand. And sometimes it's actually easier to move your body first, and then the mind might kind of start taking care of itself. So I always recommend people, of course, getting out for a walk is the kind of most basic thing if that's possible. And then if you can get into a fitness facility or studio, group training is something that I love. It's near and dear to my heart. And I think being around people and having them pick you up and provide encouragement is really positive for both. Physically, it gives you a physical challenge to have a little bit of competition. We know that well, but also
Yeah.
mentally to have people there to support you.
So, I want to talk about criticism. How do you handle criticism and negativity that may come from being a female athlete?
Ooh, tough one. I don't know about that.
It
I
is.
think I think kind of just move through, a lot of that. There's always going to be people that have opinions. I think at the end of the day, you have to do what you think is right for yourself, for your family, your future, and what you're interested in. A lot of people have varying interests, and I think being a female athlete is a gift. The ability to pursue things either individually or on a team, being able to build that confidence, build that resilience, and take that with you wherever you go. I wouldn't trade that for anything. So, I would say that the criticism, I'm not sure where that would come from, but it doesn't really tend to phase me in terms of those endeavors, because not everybody can do these things. And I'm grateful that I've been able to do what I have over the years. And, if anyone has any issues with that, then that's more on them than it is on me.
Well, congratulations on being inducted in the Softball Hall of Fame again. You are an incredible athlete. Thank you so much, Tessa.
Thank you. Thanks, Liz.
Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. For the next two segments, I'm joined by Shannon Galea, who's co-founder and skeleton athlete of the Malta Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation, a physical educator at the Durham District School Board, and a former professional softball athlete. Okay, Shannon, there's a lot to unpack here, but I have to ask you the first question. Who wakes up in the middle of the night or for the day and thinks, I'm going to go down head first on this ice path at 140 kilometers an hour? How did you decide to do this?
Hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for having me join. I think that's everybody's first question, but there's two things. You're crazy and you're curious. And I think, we're very lucky to have these role models in our life who achieve these great opportunities at the highest level that make you think, what does it take for me to pursue this? And so that was kind of where I got to with the sport. And yes, it does. It's a lot of mindset and putting your, thoughts and your power towards that intention. And it makes you feel pretty incredible when you get to that point of being able to do it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure the adrenaline is ridiculous. What I'm going to do now is ask you the same question that I asked Tessa. What inspired you to pursue a career in sports, and how has it empowered you personally?
Very similar to Tessa, sport has been a part of my life at an early age. And I think, looking back to where I am now, teaching the joy of movement and finding a love and motivating others to enjoy it the same way that I have has been incredible. And I think that sport has, an incredible way of creating change in communities and at large an entire nation. And so I've enjoyed showing youth and currently now adults in adult fitness how important sport and fitness can have a positive impact in your life. And so it's been threaded in my veins throughout my entire lifetime. And it's just an important tool to always have as part of your life because of just the positive health benefits that it has and just the people you get to meet and the communities that you can be a part of. It's just, it's an incredible place to be always.
So what are some of the common challenges that women face in the world of sports, and how can they overcome them?
I think we look now where women's sports has taken off in the media and all the positive changes that have, slowly evolving over time. But I look back to like my playing career where, I had experienced unequal play in a lot of the different countries that I played in when compared to the male athletes who were, paid far more with offered, much more resources to sustain their life overseas. But I think, the challenges really stem from the promotion of female sports, aside from equal pay, but lack of role models. We have so many phenomenal female athletes, but we need more up at the top to look up to. Facilities and resources. So in the country of Malta, the women were made to practice after the men late at night. And these are youth athletes, ages 10 to 20, who were then forced to train at 9, 10 p.m. at night after a male grown adult session. So it's, cultural barriers that some women face in different countries as well. And then just media coverage. I think just seeing is believing. And I think that's super important for females to have that access and that visibility. Because now we've seen in the media what that's done for our professional women's hockey league, the now new Northern Super League for soccer, and the women's basketball. It's just taken off and skyrocketed in positive ways. So I'm excited to see what this means for female sports in the next 2 to 5 to 10 years.
So you mentioned that you played softball professionally and you played it overseas in 6 different countries. And you taught faces while doing it. What did you learn from this?
I learned a lot about the power of community. The softball community is so big, but yet it's so small once you've had a chance to connect with the athletes, the coaches, and the sport leaders from various countries. And I think that's one thing that I really enjoyed about playing abroad was just the power of connection. And once you've made your appearance in one country and they've been able to see the positive impact that you can have on their youth sports streams and their develop talent ID and talent development streams for their national team pathways, it really was this really unique exchange that you could create. What was incredible about that experience was I had my high performance experience in softball, but I also made sure that I was still giving back to the community through teaching health and physical education in the high schools. And that was just a way for me to continue my career.
Hold on to that thought, Shannon. We'll be right back. Please don't go away. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. On today's episode, we're discussing building confidence and resilience through sport and fitness. I'm joined by Shannon Galea, who's a co-founder and skeleton athlete of the Malta Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation, physical educator at the Durham District School Board, and a former professional softball athlete. So, Shannon, can you share your experiences with gender stereotypes in sports and how you've navigated through them?
Yeah, gender stereotypes in sports. When I look at my career in softball, there was a lot of different rules when you look at the men's versus the women's game. So in my position, I was a pitcher, and the rules were made from more of the male perspective. And when you look at the female body, it doesn't quite support, what females need in terms of the biomechanics. And so a lot of, pitchers now, they've changed the rules. So now we can actually jump or have a greater leap off the mound and not have to have 2 feet. It actually isn't really supportive to the women's hips and our biomechanical ratio of our bodies when compared to a male. And so I look at my early childhood development and the support and notice just all my coaches were male. And I had to learn from the male perspective, like how to pitch and how to become a better pitcher. So the game has evolved. And, when I fast forward to where I started taking my career overseas and playing the game at higher levels, it was interesting just to see even just how women were treated when compared to the male side of the sport. We had smaller budgets, we had smaller resources, we had less practice facilities, training facilities. The male athletes who were imported were given cars and had a little bit more of a luxurious living than when compared to us as females. We were living with our coaches or had to live with our teammates. So it was quite interesting that I had a little bit of a taste of that in my career overseas.
So what advice would you give to young women aspiring to pursue a career in sports, and how can they stay motivated and resilient in the face of challenges? Because clearly there are many.
Yeah, I think the first thing is pursuing sport with absolute passion. It has to be something that you're fully passionate about, fully motivated, and just knowing your why. And I think that'll steer you in the right direction. And that'll always give you the things that you want to do and the tools that you need, and connecting with the right people and the right mentors. And then on that note, I think mentorship is also really crucial to keeping women in sport and being resilient and finding those coaches that you can look up to that guide you in the right direction. I look at my entire sport career and what kept me going was having the right mentors in place that were so motivating and people that I look up to that really steered me in the right direction.
So We have about a minute and 20 seconds left. I want to talk about how women in sports, how they can leverage their platforms to drive social change and awareness.
Yeah, I think advocacy. I think that's super important for women in sport is just advocating for their rights and being a part of events, participating in panel discussions, raising awareness. I think that's super important to strengthening the female sport community and just empowering women in sport. We know that media plays a key role in leveraging women in the media and in sport, and I think just showing the stories is something that can impact, our youth in positive ways. And, I heard someone that once said that, women have an incredible way of bringing everybody with them, bringing them a part of the journey when you compare to men in their sport environment, that it's all about ego and them. And not to say that that's every male athlete, but when you look at the movement that's happening in women's sport right now in the media, it's really about the community and how they're a part of that, a part of it. And I think that's really important. And I think that's something that women do really well.
Thank you so much, Shannon. I found a quote from Shannon from a previous interview, and she says, going 140 kilometers per hour down ice tracks comes with a lot of overcoming fears instantly and locking your mind into a special place of absolute insanity. It really tests your limits, and I love it. And I've heard Tessa say, I never discourage people from aiming high and going after wherever they see themselves. We can all learn a lot from both Tessa and Shannon. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski, and I'm here to empower you and make frugality fashionable. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.